Steelers need to get up to par on a certain thing, and we've talked about this before, but it's becoming more prevalent around the NFL. The Buffalo Bills, the Tennessee Titans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Carolina Panthers. Pat, do you know what they all have in common right now?
Building a new stadium.
Yes, correct. They are all building new stadiums. Carolina Panthers just got approved for what, $800 million or something like that. From
Jaguars just got
the Jaguars did
$1.4 billion.
That will be done in 2028. So teams are building new stadiums around the NFL, and we're not talking about. This Heinz Field at the time was built for I think $250 million. We're not talking about stadiums that are being built for $550 million. We're talking about $2 billion, $1.8 billion stadiums. Like, everybody wants to outdo the next stadium, right? That's how the owners operate. So there's a plethora of teams that are building new stadiums. That we already have a few right now. LA, we have Vegas, we have a couple other ones. But the Steelers, I don't think, are ever going to build a new stadium. I think they like their location. They're not going to tear down and build back up. Where else are they going to play? They're not going to put a new stadium somewhere else. But they probably are going to renovate. They need to renovate. But in your opinion, what should they do? Like, what would be enticing to a Steeler fan? What would make the experience that much better? Because you're also fighting the battle with people wanting to stay at home. You got your 80-inch TV. You got your beer in the garage. You got your sweatpants. You got your nice couch that your love sack couch that you spend a bunch of money on. You could sit there and you could watch games. Don't have to go out in the elements. Don't have to be too hot, and you don't have to be freezing your butt off. So you're fighting that as much as ever right now. So if you, let's say Pat Bostick, were in charge of renovating Acrisure Stadium, like what are some upgrades that you would like to see if you were a fan that wanted to have that experience, or you were actually doing the development?
Yeah, I go back to the beginning. I don't think the Steelers should move their stadium. I think the North Shore, so much has been put into that infrastructure down there. Obviously, with all the build, with the casino, with Stage AE, with the restaurants and bars, along the drag there, it's become a hot spot. It's one of the reasons the draft is going to be, whether it's down there or downtown, whatever it is, it's attractive. I think they've done such a good job down there in that regard that now it's about how do you get people off the couch into games, and there's a couple things to me. I mean, the biggest thing to me, I've always said that the upper north end zone there, the bleacher seats, you've got to do something with that. I think there's an opportunity to close that in and put more premium areas there. I am, listen, I went to a couple games last year. I went to the San Francisco game. There's a lot of red in the stadium. And I'm not pretending to know what the ticket demand is for Steelers. I think it's relatively strong. I think, season ticket holders have relatively good value for their tickets. But, going down in capacity is not a bad thing. I'm not talking about significantly. But when you go from a bleacher seat to a chairback seat and or a club, you're going to lose some capacity. But you're providing an experience that's different for people to view the game. They're putting field level seats in this year for the first time for both Steelers and Pitt games. They're on sale for Pitt games now.
Field level seats, can you explain that?
100 of them. They're going to be right by the visitors tunnel and right on the field level. A lot of teams are doing it. Cleveland has them the whole way around. They're basically like a swivel chair, and you are it's leather, and chairback had access to a club, and you are on the field. You're elevated slightly so you can see over, Broderick Jones, who's standing on the sideline, but it's a different experience. And so I think it's, creating those experiences, bringing the level of comfort and hospitality up to a high level. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steeler game, I don't think, certainly Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium isn't Lambeau Field. It doesn't have that, but it is, because of the success of the franchise, because of the location and the view of the city, I don't think there's any way you could move off that spot, but there's a lot you can do, and I'd be shocked if they're not looking into how they make that, they bring that up to snuff in terms of the amenities that are involved and the differentiation of experiences that are provided to fans.
The Fan Hotline is presented by Sullivan Super Service, Pittsburgh's trusted plumbing and HVAC provider for over 50 years. Retractable roof, yes or no, here in Pittsburgh?
No.
No? Not for even other venues like Taylor Swift coming or Sierra wanting to perform?
You know, I'd be curious to hear what fans have to say. I mean, again, I know Minnesota did it, but that's part of, I don't know, it'd be the only team in the AFC North to have one. You know, and it's the wind off the lake. I mean, the rivers, rather. You know, you get the wind off the lake up in Buffalo or Chicago. There's a certain component of that I think is beneficial, especially in tight ball games. But, you know, I'd go either way, man. It's 11 on 11. You got to block, tackle, throw, and catch.
Right.
So, I mean, ultimately, would it make it easier? Absolutely. But I like the elements.
The 93.7 The Fan and the Pittsburgh Pirates want to visit your teams in action for our youth baseball and softball showcase. Parents and coaches, send an email to us at youthsports@937thefan.com to register your 12 and under team, and 93.7 The Fan will make a stop to your field. Details at 937thefan.com. Century 21 Fairways Real Estate. Pat, I wouldn't mind a retractable roof. I mean, because they have the 80-20 rule or 80-50 rule. If it's under 50 degrees or over 80, you close it. But I think that if you want to create more revenue, if you are the Steelers, that would be a decent avenue to do that, because you can host different events there. You can host different performances there and throughout all times of the year. So your Kenny Chesney's doesn't have to be dedicated to just the summer. It could be, in January.
Well, it would also make, the ability to keep the grass and the turf in good, and I don't think they'll ever go to turf. Obviously, artificial turf, but it does protect that. Again, I'm old school in that regard, so I don't love it, and I think it would start to bring the cost to a point where it's like, should we just build a new stadium,
build a new one, right?
Which then you're hamstrung. You've got to move. And I don't know if that's the right thing.